Have you ever pondered why the majority of individuals fail to thrive much beyond the age of 80? It boils down to these 4 key factors. Attaining 80 years represents a significant achievement, yet maintaining vitality past that point demands far more than mere chance. It requires genuine awareness. Indeed, there exist 4 subtle yet potent influences that subtly undermine the body's functions as the years advance. The majority seldom discuss them until the opportunity has passed, and countless others remain oblivious to the profound impact these hidden challenges exert on their vitality, cognitive sharpness, and general well-being until irreversible harm has occurred. In this presentation, we shall reveal the 4 authentic causes behind why so many encounter difficulties in extending their lives substantially beyond 80. These explanations transcend mere speculation. They draw from extensive medical studies spanning decades, coupled with real-world observations. Once you grasp them fully, you'll recognize that the goal isn't immortality. Rather, it's safeguarding your physical robustness, personal autonomy, and inner tranquility for the longest possible duration. Remain engaged until the conclusion, as the 4th factor could catch you off guard and might prove to be the most crucial among them. Let's dive right in. Reason 1: the hidden inflammation that hastens the aging process. One of the gravest perils to well-being after turning 80 originates not from external sources. It emerges stealthily from deep inside. Medical professionals frequently term it inflammaging. This refers to the persistent, subtle inflammation that methodically erodes cells, tissues, and vital organs, initially without producing noticeable signs. Gradually, it exhausts the body from within. Unlike the visible swelling following a twist or scrape, this form remains concealed internally. It accumulates over prolonged periods due to accumulated stress, consumption of refined foods, inadequate rest, minimal physical activity, and exposure to various pollutants in the environment. Although it may evade detection through pain initially, it permeates every aspect. It impacts your cardiovascular system, your cognitive faculties, your skeletal joints, and even your defenses against illness. Consider George, now 82 years old. He abstained from tobacco. He avoided alcohol. He took daily strolls. Yet he frequently experienced fatigue, rigidity, and mental cloudiness, despite unremarkable routine blood tests. Only upon consulting an expert did tests reveal elevated indicators of inflammation circulating throughout his body. No major illness was present, just this understated inflammatory activity bubbling undetected for years. As years accumulate, the body's capacity to manage inflammation diminishes progressively. Consequently, elements once dismissible in one's 50s or 60s, such as convenient snacks laden with additives, extended sessions of immobility, or subpar nightly repose, begin to impose a far greater burden once surpassing 80. This inflammation methodically diminishes one's overall endurance. It heightens susceptibility to cognitive decline, cardiovascular ailments, and physical frailty. Remarkably, most remain unaware of its progression. Fortunately, potent countermeasures exist that prove both straightforward and cost-free. Incorporating greater quantities of unprocessed foods into meals, committing to daily ambulation. Transformations don't manifest instantly, yet each incremental action contributes to diminishing the inflammatory burden. With reduced inflammation levels, your physique gains enhanced prospects for enduring robustness well past 80. Reason 2: the erosion of muscle mass leading to frailty and tumbles. Beyond the age of 60, the human frame instinctively commences the forfeiture of muscular tissue annually. Post-80, this deterioration accelerates noticeably. This incremental debility bears the name sarcopenia. Individuals typically overlook its onset. It doesn't debut with dramatic shifts. Instead, it manifests through minor inconveniences, difficulty twisting open containers, rising from seating with increased effort, or shying away from steps because they seem marginally more daunting. Crucially, musculature serves purposes beyond mere power. It bolsters equilibrium. It fortifies joint structures. It aids in stabilizing glucose levels and metabolic functions. As muscle wanes, vulnerabilities to stumbles, fractures, and diminished self-reliance escalate rapidly. Reflect on Frank, aged 84. He retained mental acuity, maintained an upbeat demeanor, and resided independently. However, one ordinary afternoon, he stumbled over a floor covering and fractured his pelvis. He had long viewed himself as reliably balanced, but the incident illuminated the extent of strength he had unwittingly surrendered in recent times, strength he presumed intact. What renders muscular decline particularly hazardous beyond 80 lies in its swift ripple effects across all facets of life. A single mishap can confine one to bed rest for weeks, and such immobility fosters further debility. Subsequently arrives reliance on assistive devices, erosion of personal liberty, and the subdued contraction of what was once a vibrant existence. Yet, muscular atrophy need not be an inescapable fate. It proves amenable to deceleration and frequently to partial restoration. Routine pedestrian exercise assists. Incorporating modest weights or elastic resistance tools several sessions weekly. Ensuring sufficient protein intake. Performing gentle elongations to preserve flexibility. These modest endeavors accumulate substantially, particularly through steadfast application. The aim never involves sculpting a physique like an athlete's. It's centered on preserving stability, agility, and sufficient fortitude to pursue cherished activities. Be it tending to a garden, procuring provisions, or merely arising securely from slumber each dawn, muscle functions as your frame's unobtrusive guardian. Beyond 80, it could represent the singular element enabling not merely prolonged existence, but enriched quality of life. Reason 3. Suboptimal slumber that undermines both physique and psyche. Patterns of rest evolve with advancing years, though seldom favorably. Numerous seniors grapple with initiating sleep, sustaining it uninterrupted, or attaining profound, rejuvenating repose. Beyond 80, the repercussions of deficient sleep emerge more distinctly across physical form, neural operations, and routine activities. Initially, these might appear trivial: heightened daytime drowsiness, recurrent lapses in recalling basics, swift escalations in frustration. Beneath such surface indicators lurks a profounder issue. During slumber, the organism conducts self-repairs. The mind purges accumulated toxins. The protective mechanisms against pathogens recalibrate. When rest turns superficial or interrupted, these restorative mechanisms falter. Examine Alice, 86 years of age. She dismissed frequent nocturnal awakenings, 3 or 4 instances, as typical for her stage. Gradually, however, she observed waning recall, plummeting vigor, and increased susceptibility to minor infections. Her physician clarified that slumber transcended mere relaxation. It proved indispensable for neural integrity and immunological resilience. Upon refining her nocturnal routines, her mental lucidity and endurance gradually rebounded. Countless presume resignation to inferior sleep inevitable beyond a certain threshold. Yet this assumption holds partial inaccuracy. Practical strategies abound for enhancement. Adhering to fixed evening wind downtimes, curtailing stimulants like caffeine alongside spirits, exposing oneself to dawn's natural illumination, cultivating a chilled, obscured, serene sleeping quarters. Even moderate daytime exertion can foster deeper nocturnal immersion. Post-80, superior sleep assumes equivalence to nutritious sustenance or cautious locomotion in significance. It influences cognitive precision, gait steadiness, immunological vigor, and the quantum of vitality available for savoring a crude existence. The objective isn't extended duration of sleep, it's elevated quality. Prioritizing this stands among the shrewdest investments for sustained wellness. Reason 4: isolation and the erosion of everyday significance. A stealthy peril impacts more individuals over 80 than commonly acknowledged. It constitutes neither pathogen nor pathology. It manifests as solitude. Beyond emotional ache, it inflicts tangible physiological tolls. Research demonstrates that interpersonal detachment paired with diminished routine meaning can curtail lifespan more severely than certain enduring conditions. As chronology progresses, one's social sphere frequently contracts. Companions depart this world. Offspring relocate distantly. Mobility constraints impede outings. Insidiously, sans intent, myriad elders allocate escalating hours in isolation, not solely corporeal, but effective. Contemplate Bill, 88. His spouse departed 5 years prior. His grown progeny dwell in remote locales. He views broadcasts, prepares sustenance, maintains order. Yet he confesses certain days elapsed devoid of verbal exchange with any being. What he yearns for most transcends clamor or bustle. It's the sensation of utility, of anticipation from others, of irreplaceable presence. The essence of humanity craves linkage. Post-80, as societal functions wane, be it vocation cessation, nurturing roles, communal participation, loss transcends mere sociability. It encompasses self-conception. That subdued query of rationale for arising can weigh oppressively. Cumulatively, it impairs defensive health, neural equilibria, and motivation for motion. Yet significance needn't loom monumental. It might entail hydrating flora, penning missives to kin, initiating dawn telephony, nourishing avians, aiding proximate folk. Minute gestures forge cadence, import delight. Extending overtures, despite initial discomfort, frequently illuminates mutually. Seclusion diverges from desolation. Cultivating serene introspection embodies fortitude. However, perceived obscurity or superfluity elicits corporeal retorts. Thus, for those surpassing 80 or acquainted therewith, pose this elemental inquiry. What infuses your days with intent presently? How might you shield that intent akin to therapeutic elixir? For in numerous respects, it qualifies as such. Concluding reflections. Should you have persevered thus far, pause for introspection. Not born of alarm, but lucidity. Transcending 80 bestows bounty, yet verity dictates many arrive thereto in suboptimal condition. Not from indifference, but ignorance of insidious adversaries. Inflammatory buildup, muscular attrition, deficient repose, effective seclusion infiltrate incrementally. By overt manifestation, detriment precedes. Knowledge empowers. This discourse aims not to unsettle, but equip, to underscore that incremental, persistent alterations retain potency. Resolutions enacted this week, month, mold locomotion, cognition, sentiment through octogenarian years onward. Thus, which resonated profoundly, the stealthy ingress of inflammation, strength's delicacy absent exertion, slumber's transcendence of repose, effective bonds parity with pharmacopoeia, irrespective, transcend datum to pivot, commitment to corporeal, cerebral, purposeful persistence. Maturation eschews dimming. It hones. It selects essentials, shield them, discard surplus. You've merited navigating this life's phase with sagacity, vigor. Eschew diminishment. We appreciate your engagement today. Kindly contribute a comment detailing one insight gleaned and its intended application. Your perspectives hold value. Share freely. Perusing them fuels our drive. Should this prove enriching, disseminate widely. Your endorsement sustains endeavors to enlighten, motivate. Until next encounter,